Hello, everyone. Welcome to the BGE Clouds podcast. It's Friday, so you know what that means. It's time for the plus in pageantry. I have the absolute honor this week to be to be interviewing Miss Keyace Sims, who is a 13-year pageant industry veteran, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Yes,
So
yes,
I'm going to give
yes.
this incredible woman the opportunity to introduce herself. After that, I will tell you how I had the pleasure of meeting this gal. So, Miss Keyace, welcome.
Thank you so much, Amber. Welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to be able to stand or sit before you today. My name, as she said, is Keyace Sims. My platform is I've had a couple platforms throughout my pageant journey, but my one that I am literally taking up the mantle now, and because I see that there is a definite need for it at the moment, is BOSS, which stands for Breaking Barriers and Overcoming Stereotypes and Scorn. This is something that I picked up because of the fact that it's just like I've experienced it myself throughout my pageant journey, as a performer and a pageant competitor, and then also working on pageant staff. It's been something that I've been seeing. And so I figured that, you know what better time to go ahead and start advocating for the true inclusion of this than now. I have been your Elite Miss Earth 2018. I have also been a local title holder around Miami, doing all the local things. I am also a pageant coach with Reigning Beauties, and I have been on staff for Miss Earth USA, Mrs. USA Earth, and International Ms. And I'm just so glad to be here with you all today and share.
Yay, welcome. We're so happy to have you. So,
Thank you.
something that we have, so we met last summer at the International Ms. pageant. And then I ran into you really, really quick in line at Miss USA. And it just kind of goes to show you guys like how small the pageant community is, because you can meet someone once and then literally see them for the rest of your pageant career. So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But International Ms. is a very special program. There's a lot of press right now for Miss USA opening up their age demographic. However, that's always been the case for a program like International Ms. It was developed to show a spotlight on women who were entrepreneurs and just kind of really making a change and a difference in their communities. So we definitely had the opportunity to be in the same room. But as you guys know, pageant week is chaotic, and we don't often have the opportunity to actually get to know each other. So here we are today, getting to know each other. So, Miss Keyace, let's talk a little bit more about your experience with Miss Earth and International Ms., which are sister pageants. So, what drew you to those systems in particular?
So, what drew me to the Earth system was just curiosity initially. Was like I said, a local title holder around in Miami, Miss Woman Art Deco, and I was looking at my next step, because one of the things I did not like about pageantry was that the age cap that they did, where they basically make it to where, if after the age of 28 or 29, like now, you no longer are good enough to be considered a Miss Beauty Queen kind of person. Now you either have to stop pageantry altogether, or you can go into like, the older divisions that aren't valued
Senior.
as much. And it's just, yeah, a senior. Like, and I'm just like, I'm 30 something is still young. I don't feel,
Absolutely.
I don't feel like, but, unfortunately for me, when I started to make my way into pageantry, I was, I did a high school pageant when I was 15, but I didn't really take that one too seriously. But by the time I actually started getting like interested in competing, I had already aged out. Before I aged out, let me explain. I had a son and I got married early. So I was like 20 when I had my son, and that pretty much already aged me out of Miss USA. So while I was a title holder for the Ms. division down here for a local title in Miami. Someone told me about Miss Earth USA and how they actually had a elite division, which I like to consider as a big sister division. Like I don't like, I don't like to think of it like old lady. I like to think of it more like big sister, like someone that can help guide you, like the Miss and the Teen. Like you appreciate the fact that they were trying to promote sustainability and a world that is like that recycles, a world that is like literally trying to save the world. And I know it's like, oh, it's picture, like literally they're trying to save the world.
like actually,
with
actively,
solution, like literally, like recycle and reuse, restore, like all the R's. And I was like, okay, so it's it's not just one of those pageants that's just there to take your money. It's a pageant with a purpose, which is always great. And so I decided to go ahead and give that a try. I competed at the Elite Miss Florida USA pageant. Like, well, it was a Miss Earth I'm sorry, Elite Miss Florida, Elite Miss Earth USA pageant for the Florida state.
Okay.
At that time, it was called Elite Miss United States Florida, I believe, or Elite Miss Earth United States. It was a lot. Listen, the title has always been a tongue twister for me. I'm like, okay, here we go.
Oh my goodness.
Miss Earth, United States,
Florida Elite.
Elite.
Was there enough room on the sash?
To take it down. Just wrap it around the whole body. Like, listen, when they decided to take it down from United States to just USA, I was like, thank goodness, because that was a long title. And so I competed there. I got first runner up and I lost by like a point. And it really irked me because, the fact that I was just like, I had thoughts in my head that I was just like, the judging panel, like they definitely knew the winner, and one of them knew me, but a lot of them knew the winner that won. And I was just like, I just want to, and I wasn't really happy with my dress. Let me just tell you. Make sure when you compete, you are happy with every aspect of your pageant wardrobe, because that just helps you to be more confident when you're performing, and you're not like thinking in your head, oh, I wish I wore a different dress. I wish I wore. Don't ever have any regrets. Make sure you're happy with everything that you're going in competition with. I wasn't, and it showed. Actually, one of the judges told me that my point dropped when I during the evening gown round, because they saw that the confidence, like they I can't fake it. I really can't. No matter how hard I try. When
that dress isn't dressing, and like you're right before you step on stage, like you can do every mental mantra in your head, but in the back of your mind, like this was not my first pick. You know what I mean? Like this
is not my first pick.
Bless it.
Yeah, it's like it gets you, and it will mess with you, And so I'm just like, I was like, okay, I wish that I had the opportunity to compete in this pageant, because I did rush into that pageant. I only had like a month to prepare. I realize now, like, don't rush into a pageant either. So I tried to rush into it because of the fact that the other pageants that I've done, it was kind of had been like a 1 month in advance, and there you go. But this was like a pageant that was going on a national scale. I did not know. And so after that, like the audience apparently got a little bit in an uproar, probably partially caused by my mom and my auntie. Just a little bit. They had to sneak out the back door because they caused a ruckus.
I love that.
Let me tell you, all I know is that I was like packing up my stuff after I didn't win. I was packing up my suitcase. I shed a little tear, but I was like, nope, kids, you're good. Just pack it up and let's get out of here. And all of a sudden I see my aunt and my mom like coming backstage, and they're like, you did so good. We got to go, but you did so well.
We have to go, but we'll meet you at the restaurant. We'll see you there.
I was like, what is going on?
What's happening?
Listen, you can't invite them to to any other pageant at this point together. They need to be separated. Okay.
No.
So next thing you know, like the assistant national director came back there. And she talked to me a little bit in regards to how did you feel, how did you what do you think and everything. And I was just like that, I told her, I was like, yeah, it was good. I just wish that I would have liked my dress. I wish I would have had just gone in it with like more confidence of not more confidence, because I had a lot of confidence, but just gone in it with more confidence in my wardrobe, because even the dress was last minute. And it was a sponsored dress, which get this. The guy that gave me the sponsored dress, he gave me two options. And I didn't really know, since it was an earth system, I thought both options were like nothing that I would have really wanted. But since it was earth system, I was like, oh, maybe they like earthy. So I chose like this dress that you would probably wear to a church picnic. I was like, because that was the best one out of the two options he gave me. Let me tell you one of the reasons why my confidence dropped during the evening gown round. Because right before I went out, the person that beat me, she was before me, and she had on this glamorous, decked out, shiny looking.
Oh my gosh!
And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she was just like, "Oh, I've seen that dress before. That's so and so's dress." I was like, "Oh, how do you know?" And she was like, "I've seen it on a fashion show. He's put it in a fashion show before." And let's just say this person, the designer's name was Alberto. She's like, I've seen Alberto's dress. That's Alberto's dress. Like, I've seen it on the fashion show. He had it in the fashion show. I'm like, oh, that's nice to know. Well, your dress is gorgeous. Who made your dress? Alberto.
Pardon? Pardon? Oh my God.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. I would have.
I did bring a backup dress, but there was no time to change. So
I'm sick.
Like, as soon as she said that, I was just like, I need to change out of this dress to my backup dress. But there was no time to change, and we were being rushed to the stage. And then, of course, she goes out in the audience. Ooh,
wow.
And then here I come with my church picnic dress on.
But you know what? What an amazing feat. You went out there in your church picnic dress, and you still came out top 5, not top 5, but top 2. Come on now. You made it work.
I think the audience was just like, they all went silent when I came out.
Because they were in awe of your beauty. Right?
So, of course, when the assistant national director had came backstage and was talking to me, and I was just like, next time I would like to compete in a dress that I'm comfortable and I'm confident and comfortable in. I don't want to, I want to compete in something I actually like. And she said that, what, we might have an at-large title for you to compete at the nationals, but I have to go check with national office to see if they still have this option available. And so she got back to me and she said they did. And so after talking to my local director, who had been the one helping me for my journey, I decided to go ahead and aim for it. And I was just like, screw it. I'll be able to see my Florida winner back at the national pageant. I don't think she was too happy that she learned that I was going to be still going. Who cares?
What you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? I wasn't happy when I found out who made her dress.
And she didn't hesitate to tell you who made her dress.
And it makes sense on why I was only offered 2 options that didn't even look like it could stand the test of time. But anyways, I digress. So I was like, okay, no worries. I'm gonna, I just want to give it another shot. Mm-hmm. And I guess this time I'm gonna have to give it a shot at the national title. Just going in there, being confident with everything that I'm going there with, I didn't really have, I think more so it was really the wardrobe piece that I just wasn't happy with the evening gown. So I was just like, you know what? And then on top of that, I wanted us to be judged in front of a group of peers that didn't know either of us. I just wanted a rematch. I just wanted
Nobody.
a fair chance at just seeing how I place. And if I listen, since it was a national title, I was gonna be happy just being top 12. I know that not like hardly does anybody ever win a national title the first time around or whatnot. Like,
Right.
So I knew that, this is probably going to be something that I'm going to have to like try again for, but I'm like, screw it. Let me just go. Let me have fun. Let me see if I can make it to top 12.
So you had realistic expectations.
Yeah, I had realistic expectations. And initially, like throughout that journey, it was like, I had to check myself because it was throughout that journey when I was preparing before I even got to nationals, all I thought of is I need to beat her. I want to beat her. This is a rematch between me. And then something clicked in me the week before I left that it's not about her anymore. It's just really like, let me see if I can just, be a better contestant than what I was before. Let me just go there and have fun. Let me really stop, like, thinking about her and what happened at state. Let me just go. And so when that clicked, like I went there, one of the staff members had mentioned something during orientation saying that whoever wins, it's already written in the stars. God already knows who's going to win. So at this point, all you can really do is have fun. And I took that to heart. I was like, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. At this point, I'm just going to have fun. And I did. And then I ended up winning. Because it's just like, I let go of like having to try to be perfect, having to try to like, beat this person or that person. And I was just like, I'm just going to have fun. I'm just going to, I'm here. I'm going to be in the moment. A few things had, went wrong while I was there back on home base side, but it's like, I did my best to make sure not to let it interfere with my performance. And yeah, it ended up working out all in my favor. So it was a blessing. And so from there, that is the story about how I came to the Earth system and have gotten involved with the Earth system and been a part of the Earth family. After I gave up my title, I took about a good 2 years off from competing. And I was, I was going to compete probably a year after I gave up my title, but I decided that I'm going to just hold off one more year. And right around the time that I started to like gear up to be like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and start looking for another competition to be a part of. Because at the end of the day, pageantry is fun and it does help you to become a better person, in my opinion, because you have to dig deep and you have to like really, like you can't procrastinate. You have to do things because of the fact that in pageantry, it's about what have you done? Now, what are you planning to do? Like, so
what are you doing?
What are you doing now? Like, what are you doing to help the world? And I honestly can say that since I've joined the world of pageantry, I've done more community service than I've ever done in my life.
Yes.
Glory be, okay?
Yes. Say it louder for the kids in the back.
Right? Like, oh my gosh. And so I basically, after like right when I was gearing up to like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start looking for another competition, is when my fiance, boyfriend at the time, but fiance now, had he had gotten a call from a owner of a modeling agency who had a girl that was, I guess I won't say her name necessarily, or I can, I don't know, depending on what you want me to do. But
this is a safe space.
Yeah, safe space. Well, she was interested in competing, and she was a rookie, and we set up a meeting to talk to her, and I wanted to see where she's at, see where her head's at, whatever. And she seemed like a very sweet girl. She is a very sweet girl. And I was just like, you know what? I'll go ahead and pause my competition run. I'll help you, because I connected with her, and I was just like, I want to help you. I think I think she can be great and do great things. that's how I ended up getting into coaching. It was just her initially. So she was my protege.
Oh,
And it took 2 years, but we were able to get her Miss DC USA and get to USA and make top 20 at USA.
we love that.
So and of course, after all that and during all that, like there have been more girls that had started to come on during since. But within that same time, I actually also started working with the Miss Earth USA organization for their nonprofit, the Beauties for a Cause USA. I started working as a grant coordinator back in 2021, and then eventually they moved me onto the executive team for Miss Earth USA, and I was just pretty much just helping with whatever they need help with. And then they also let me participate in helping on staff with International Ms. I helped with International Ms. I think 2022, and then also 2023 where I met you, and and I just love that program because it's different from the Miss program and the teen program because of the fact that for one we get to drink wine, but
Well,
we're grown and sexy over here. Okay, so it's just like it's just more relaxed though. It's just a lot more of it's you're around women that are really really accomplished and like literally it's more of the competitiveness is not catty.
at all,
It's at all.
at all.
It's just nice to like be around a group of women that are just vibing and just like really just having a good time with each other. And then at the end of the day or at the end of the week, we do the competitions. We see who's going to be queen. And it's just a really chill vibe. And I really enjoy that program. So, and then of course, afterwards, Mrs. USA Earth has broken off from Miss Earth, Miss and Teen Earth USA because, I guess of the international, just a lot of logistics or whatever. So therefore, Mrs. USA Earth is now separate. And I was brought on staff to help them too. For them, I'm the director of sponsorships and promotions. So
Okay.
that's also exciting
Yeah.
to see what the year holds for that. I'm
It's
sorry
also
that I just gave you like my life story in pageantry. I'm so sorry.
no, it's good. It's good. It's always like really, really interesting when you hear, all of the different ways that people cross paths in this industry and, where you had a certain vision of what your pageant journey was going to look like, and then it became so much more. Like I thought I was going to be a one and done.
Yeah.
10 years later. Okay. like
Really,
I
10 years later.
yes, I sincerely thought I was going to do one pageant and be done. My journey started a little different. I did get the NAM mailer,
Ooh.
but by the time I got it, I was too old to compete.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so
Welcome to the club.
right,
Well,
my very first pageant was Miss Washington USA, and early on, I wanted to make sure that the message that I was sending was about being body positive and not having a false positivity about your body, but also not being pressured into changing just to fit the mold. So that was kind of where I just really got into my love for advocacy and self-acceptance and service, like but when I found International Ms, I saw my friend compete, Jordan Goddard, and win, and I just thought she had such an impeccable year amongst all that she was going through at the time. And I was just kind of really moved by her story and wanted to give it a try. And I had a great time. Like you said, there was zero cattiness, zero pressure. Everyone was so charmingly unique, you know? Like,
yeah.
though we were all bonded in that we were very successful women over a particular age, like,
You
like,
know, that's
so we
okay.
were we were all
Grown and
bonded.
sexy age. Grown and sexy.
Mm, okay. So we were all bonded over that, but we were still able to come together, let our guard down, have a good time. And sometimes you're so wrapped up in your head that you just can't even enjoy your week. And that's another thing that I really enjoyed. Like there wasn't all that tense, oh, is it going to be me or her? Is it going to be me or her? Is it going to be me or her? Because
Right.
even Laura said it. She was like, I don't know how they pick the winner. She was like, you can't. There's not a formula.
Laura's so hands off when it comes to the judging. She's just like, y'all are the judges. Pick a winner. That's it.
She was like, I'll see everyone afterwards. Thanks. Love you.
Yeah, like love you.
Yeah, like I hope I get to see her at Global this weekend. But yeah,
Tell her
I
I said
just
hi.
I'm like, hello.
Hello. Tell her Keyace hello.
So I really appreciated that about the program, and I've been really really excited to follow all three of the winners. And that's another thing, like crowning more than one. Come on,
I love it. I
come
love
on.
it. You're crowning an international winner, which is the overall one. Just so everybody knows, there's the overall winner. Whether and that winner can be even though it's international Ms. Like that's the title of that winning. She is. You can be a Mrs. and win the international Ms. Like we currently have a Mrs. as the overall winner of international Ms. And then there's the international Ms. USA and international Mrs. USA.
Oh,
So,
I have a question for you.
mhm.
So, should the USA title holders want to come back after their year, can they try again for the international?
Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, I'm not sure. I would have to get back to you on that. I mean, it's a good question though. I don't think I have seen any of them try back to back.
I don't think, I don't know. With my
I don't think
understanding,
I don't think I've seen anyone tested yet, like back to back. I haven't seen the USA person, that's giving up their crown also be a competitor at that same time. I think they might have to wait a year before they try. But then, I mean, it is a good question because if they don't get higher than their last, I mean, because I don't think you can be the title holder twice.
twice.
I
Yeah.
don't think. I could be wrong, but I think if you don't like, if they do let them come back, I just want like they would have to get the overall
Yeah.
title, I
They
think.
wouldn't be able to be the
Yeah.
Miz, but if they're the Miz, could they be the Misses? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
like,
Actually, if it was like if it was International Ms. USA and she got married, then yeah, she can definitely come back and compete for International Mrs. USA.
yeah.
And if International Mrs. USA got divorced, she can definitely come back and compete for International Ms. USA. I just wonder if they're still in their same marital status, can they come back and try to get the overall title? That is a question that I need to even find
Yeah.
out because
Because
honestly, I don't think anybody's tried.
I think that would be a little like murky because you don't check a box just to compete for the big title. You're considered, and then the way the scoring shakes
Mm-hmm.
out, that's how it goes down. But
Yeah, because
yeah, this is all
yeah, it would be a
speculation, people.
question because if because ultimately at the end of the day, if the woman that won International Mrs. USA comes back under the same marital status and still gets the highest out of the misses, but didn't get the top one because she didn't score then it would be wrong to not give it back to her
Yeah,
because she was a top like so. So it definitely can get a little murky, I think, but no one has tried it yet.
yeah. So how about nobody try it until we get that worked out? Thank you.
I know, right? Like,
Thank
don't
you.
test the waters yet.
Yeah, don't do it. This is all
We didn't
speculation,
send you. We
kids.
didn't send you. We ain't send you. We ain't
That's
send
not
you
what
back.
happened. Okay. This is what we in the industry like to call a pageant paradox. Okay. We created another timeline just now. All right.
Exactly.
Chill out.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, all right. So you have all this pageant experience under your belt. You kind of found your footing in coaching, which good on you. Because when you start talking coaching to someone who's new in pageantry, depending on what walk of life they're coming from, I feel like you can get two different responses there. You can get kind of like this wide eyed deer in headlights, like coaching, okay, or you can get somebody who's almost offended, like, how are you going to coach me to be me? Um, like, how does that work? You said all I have to do is be myself. Why do I
Need
why
to
do
be
I need
coached.
you to tell me how to be me. Like the math doesn't math.
And then at
So
that point, that's when I would start asking them questions and having them see if they can answer that in like 30 seconds.
see, and that's what I needed to know because
No!
I I feel like a lot of times it's just you get that response back and you're like, baby girl, you called me.
Yeah, you told me.
Like,
Like, so obviously you got the information from somewhere. No, thankfully I haven't really encountered anybody that was offended or whatnot. Like, because essentially I don't really do like a lot of marketing or advertising or anything like that. Like, a lot of my clients have pretty much all my clients have came from like word of mouth, and
mhm.
or they've seen my stuff on Instagram and they reached out to see if they could like book a session, and I tell them it's not that easy. I don't work with just everybody. I'm like, there is an interview process, and this is the
Period.
program. Like, because there's plenty of coaches that will do a one-off. Like, you'll ask them for an interview session, they'll give you an interview session. You ask them for one walking lesson, they'll give you a walking lesson. And then the minute that you win, they want to claim your entire journey as if they've been on it the entire time. When knowing good and well, you've done had like 20 coaches. I am not about that life, because for me, coaching is about connecting with the person you're actually trying to help. And one of the rules that I have is that, like, especially for the state level, when the national level, I had the same rule too. But some of the girls in the program are like, "Can you consider not dropping any of us?" So
Please,
what it is that I work with one girl for per division per organization. So therefore, I'm
girl,
so I'm like,
girl.
I if you're the girl that I just agreed to work with for DC USA, then you're the only girl that I'm gonna be working with for Miss DC USA. We have the only slot left would be Team DC USA, but we're not going to take on any other girl that's trying to work with or that's trying to become Miss DC USA, because in my opinion, I feel like when you spread yourself too thin trying to help everybody, are you really helping them?
Or
Because
does it get kind of robotic,
it
you
gets
know?
like and my thing is, I'm like, all the energy that I have, if I instead of trying to help 13 girls win Miss DC USA, how about I invest all that energy into just one, and seeing and be on that journey and see if we can get her crown a lot sooner versus 13 girls. And a lot of the girls that come or that have come are they actually appreciate and love that aspect of the coaching program, because they know that we're not helping nobody else trying to get that crown. We are putting all of our eggs and ducks and everything. We're putting it all behind you.
Yeah, we're betting
So
on you.
we're betting on you, and so we go all in. Like, you'll see our page, it's not your average coaching page. Our page looks like a sorority page, because we
I love
like, we
that.
promote our girls, like, and so they really do enjoy that aspect of it, and the fact that they get that one-on-one, and it just like they know that we're all in it for them. And so that's why I don't just work with anybody. For me to agree for you to be our girl, like, I need to connect with you. I need to feel like,
Yeah.
that you want this just as bad as we want it for you. I need to know that we're not going to be wasting our time, because honestly, like, I'm not being cocky or anything like that, but who has time to waste? So I'm just like, if I'm going to be, and I've been over backwards. I like literally break my neck and back for these girls. So I'm just like, if I'm gonna be doing all that, you gotta be worth it. Like, you gotta be
Yes.
determined. You gotta be all in on your own success and journey for this pageant crown. And it has to also be more than you just wanting a tiara on your head, because that's not what we're about either. We are servant leaders over here, so we are about being a queen that's worth her salt. And if you are not that kind of person, then we are not your kind of coach. So so basically I do have people, like, I have them do a discovery call so that I can talk to them about their pageant goals, and then depending on what where they're at in life right now, I will let them know if we can move forward. So we're not like a coaching company that has a million girls. Like, we have our handful of girls, and we are all in on that handful of girls,
I
and
think
we agree to be here with them until they get their crown.
I think that's admirable because there are a lot of coaches out there who, like, I'm close with coaches who I know have multiple clients in the same system, but that's something that I have always wondered, like, how do you differentiate, what you're teaching one versus what you're teaching the other, and what kind of ironclad integrity you must have for those lines to never blur. And, of all the coaches I know, I'm very confident in a couple because, like, I've just seen the way they work and seen the way that, they pour into these women. But there's a couple that I've come
Yeah.
across in my day
Yeah. Yeah.
where I'm
Yeah.
like, pardon?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
excuse me?
Exactly.
Like, did I just tell her? I heard you tell both of them the exact same thing. And for me, pageant prep, there's no broad stroke to pageant prep. Everyone is in a different place in their journey. So if you're going to seek out a coach, you need to find somebody that recognizes that and can really, sow the seeds that are in place whilst helping you plant others. And
Agreed. Agreed.
yeah, cause honey, oof.
Ah!
But like it's murky water, y'all. You
Yeah,
gotta you
it
gotta
is. I
do
mean,
your
some of the girls
research.
that came to me have told me about their horror stories with some of the other coaches. Some of these coaches are big name coaches, or not. I don't want to say big name, but they're well known.
Yeah.
And some of these coaches you wouldn't even believe, like, you wouldn't even believe that some of the names of that I've heard. And it's just like, for me, it's shocking because I'm just like, oh wow, but everybody has their own experience. But however, they tend, the common thing that I've noticed is that with with some coaching programs and some coaches or whatever, like, they might take on a million girls, but they pick out who they think.
They're only invested in the ones that they
Yeah, who
feel
they.
can win.
And I'm just like, then if you're not wholly invested in the rest of the girls, let them go. Don't just take their money. Like, let them know that this isn't working out, and they need to find someone that would be wholly invested in their journey.
I
Like,
had
don't.
a similar conversation with my best friend just a couple days ago. She's in pageants. We met at a national pageant years ago, but
Mm-hmm.
she looks like a living Black Barbie doll, like absolutely stunning. And we were talking about dynamics, like when we enter a room together, like
Mm-hmm.
both of us, beautiful, confident, the whole nine. But she fits the pageant girl mold. Like
Yeah.
she's more model-esque than I,
Okay.
because I
Okay.
mean, your girl is sexy, okay,
Okay.
waist snatch, face beat,
Yes.
okay, but you know, I know that in the pageant world, my body type isn't necessarily the one that people think of when they think pageant. I'm fine with it. I've done the work,
You're what they would consider our plus size beauty.
right? And that's fine. I'm fine with that. But she's one of those women that walks in the room and you're like, okay, like
You
she's
already think she's gonna win just from
like,
her look
yeah,
alone.
she
Oh,
showed
can't
up.
stand those girls.
um, but we were talking about just kind of like the difference in the way that people treat her versus how they treat me when we come into a space, because we've competed together, I think, at least at 3 different national pageants and one international, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So I told her, I was like, people come up to you and they want to befriend you for the week and, bend over backwards for you. Parents come out of the woodwork, start asking you questions about your life, like, what you do, where you plan to go. Oh, my daughter is going to be in New York then too. You guys
Yeah.
should be roommates,
Yeah, should link up. Matter of fact,
right?
we're gonna be walking in this fashion show. I'll reach out to the designer. You should be walking in it too. Like,
Yeah, like don't worry about it. I'll do you this favor. And while that's great, and it
mm-hmm.
can be something that you can nurture, when I walk in the room, I get a, hey, how are you doing? Yes, you can sit over there. Like, it's a totally different experience.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, I don't like that. I don't like that people treat you differently. And I was like, well, despite how we came out of this pageant situation together, we built a friendship, we built a bond.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's not there for that,
Right.
so you have
Right.
to kind of you have to be able to read the room. And she's like, well, I would never treat you like that. And I'm like, I know. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But and I
Yeah.
understand, but they see you as competition. They don't right away see me as competition when I walk in the room. And
Right. It's like you have to prove yourself more.
hmm like, and then throughout the week, I get more of, oh, you're from Washington State. Oh yeah, like tech, Boeing, Starbucks, blah blah blah. Like, then throughout the
Yeah.
week, I start to get the same thing that they gave you the second that you started
They
to
saw
run
you.
through the door.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's when just like, the whole like I appreciate certain organizations that try to make sure that, or they've recently, been trying to amp up their inclusion and making everybody feel welcomed right off the back. But then, of course, when videos get leaked and it turns out that there are some questions being raised about that supposed inclusion, really makes you wonder, like, are we really trying, is pageantry really making a change for the better, or are we just the same, but we're just trying to like put some icing on top of some nonsense to try to make it look like we're going to be treating everybody exactly the same, that like the way your friend was treated, that should be the way that everybody's treated the second that they come in the door. But I know that that human nature, the girls tend to look in the room based off of looks and
Hmm
see who's tall, skinny, and gorgeous, because that is the person that's competition. Let me tell you something. Miss USA is like 5'4" or something like that, okay? She was standing up against Amazons on that stage, okay? But she had a
Yes.
performance that was 6 feet. Like she was. But it's just a habit that I think a lot of girls have when they walk in the room. Whoever is like the skinniest with the most big Texas hair, and just like tall or whatever, or even average height, or I should say 5'6", or whatever. Like they look at those girls, because when you got on tippy tops, you're like 5'9".
Oh my
And
gosh, I hate that shoe.
and
I know it's the shoe. I know it's the shoe. Don't get me wrong, but okay, first of all, I hate feet. Hate feet. But one of my joys in life is looking at the pictures that cut, like the stage pictures, and then zooming in on the feet, and you can just see everybody's toes.
hanging over, hanging
Oh.
over, holding on for dear life. Okay,
Or like
like
that
and they've
that
been
pinky
standing in
toe.
those shoes for like 8 to 10 hours, and they're struggling for dear life. The feet will tell you the
It's
struggle of the
terrible.
girl. Okay,
It's terrible. It's
her
terrible. I
face
hate that
might
shoe.
be like this, but her
Or
feet are like
oh my gosh. There's always that one like pinky toe like poking out of the crosses. Oh my gosh. Oh,
but yeah, it's just like it's just so normal for people to do that. And you know what I also found though, and why I even decide, because like for me, I'm a performer. Like yes, I have 4 degrees, but I choose to be a performer because it fills my heart with joy. It's my passion. I've been loving performance since I was 15 years old, and actually way before that, because I was dancing in the laundry room when I was like 8, 9 years old to Paula Abdul and Janet Jackson. I had full blown concerts back then. Okay, you have no idea. I had full blown concerts. Um,
you have to
and
understand, Janet Jackson can do no wrong in my eyes. Like
yeah,
that's my one. Okay. Like it.
exactly. Like I'm like, I listen. I mean, I had all her tapes. I mean, they were tapes for me back then, because I didn't have and then they went to CDs. I'm showing my age, but it's just like, listen, I know, right? But I've wanted to perform since I was a little girl, and so of course, like, but my parents, my dad particularly wanted college, and like, the usual mainstream society
Success
success,
and
you
achievement.
know,
Yeah.
and I gave him his college. I definitely. It took
Like,
me a minute.
okay.
I gave you your college. In fact, I gave you 4 college degrees. So therefore, it's just kind of like, okay, I gave you your college, but ultimately, I'm like, I mean, there are plans that I have to do, like things that I would like to do before it's all said and done, to help the world in regards to like what I got those degrees for. But at the moment, like I've been living out my performer heart dreams, and I realized that in pageantry, you know, with the whole inclusion, there wasn't a lot of it when I was getting started for my career field. Because it's just like to the point where I had to create 2 separate pages because
Mm-hmm.
the performing world didn't give a crap about pageantry stuff. I mean, they'll just be like, oh, great, you're a beauty queen, awesome, you know. But the pageant world was just like, there were a couple of people that like looked down on it, and to the point to where even when I won Elite Miss Earth USA, a girl immediately sent in a picture of me in a costume that I was in for one of the shows that I did down here in Miami. It was a Riviera Live, and it was like one of our Latin costumes or whatever. And she tried to send in a picture of that costume and be like, she's a stripper. She literally tried to get me dethroned the night that I got crowned. And I'm just like, you know, but of course I was told that, you know, just go ahead and go through your social media, clean it up so that way we know you're not, we know you're a showgirl, we know that you're a performer. But just go ahead and clean it up though, because just so that other people don't try to start pulling things to try to, you know, throw some shade and credit or whatever. And so I did that. I mean, you know, back then I was just like, oh, okay, I have to put my performer page on private. I reached out to the entertainment company and said, hey, can you take down pictures of me? Just take them all down. I just don't want any issue. And for years, I'm like, you know, just kind of try to keep those worlds separate. And then one day this past year, I was talking to Carlos because, you know, they talked about the inclusion now of the age and the marital status and all these things that canceled me out back when I was interested in competing for Miss USA. When I was younger, all these things that canceled me out back then, they're now like they're now opening the door. And I'm just like, I would love to compete, but I'm like, you know, I'm pretty certain that, you know, with my career, it's just like they might look down on it because of the fact that, you know, all these, when I was in competition before, it was kind of like, you know, people tried to like say things about it and make me feel, I guess like it wasn't I don't know, maybe an acceptable kind of career. And I'm just like, but why not? Because what's really weird is that, you know, you go work your 9 to 5 and then on the weekend you come to see me perform. You come to get some enjoyment, some excitement in your life after working a 9 to 5. Now you're coming to my world to try to relax. Who do you think is performing for you? Who do you think is entertaining you? Who do you think is helping you get that relaxation that you've been craving all week? That is where my world comes into play. And I was just like, you know, I told Carlos actually. I was like the Carlos Velez, and I was talking to him about it, and I told him that, you know, I mean, I would probably have to like put my page on private again if I decided to compete and this and that, and have to like, you know, just do things that I'm like, you know, it's going to be annoying to have to like hide myself. And then he was like, why not just let that be your platform? The fact that, you know, why should you hide yourself like that? Maybe you should take that up as your platform. Maybe you should be, you know, he pretty much helped me to realize that maybe this conversation needs to be had at this point in my life. Because if we're really talking about inclusion, then let's talk about inclusion. Let's be inclusive, and let's talk about, like, you know, and so that's where that breaking barriers and overcoming these stereotypes and scorn has started, because I'm just like, you know what, you're right. If I decide to compete in the future, I don't feel like at this point, I don't want to hide who I am anymore. Mm-hmm. Just because it might make someone else feel like, I mean, or not feel, but just because someone else might not like my
how you present
career choices and how I decide to live my life. Like, what is that? Like, what is the true definition of empowerment then? If you're not empowering me to make the choices that are best for myself, then is empowerment only if I do what you're wanting me to do? Or is that when we're all doing what we feel empowered to do, and others are accepting our decisions?
So. Yeah, I feel like when you when we talk about diversity and inclusion, a lot of the boxes that are being checked currently are diversity. Like, oh yeah, so there was a plus size woman at Miss Universe, there was a modestly dressed woman at Miss
Mhm.
Universe. We're checking these things off, but the aim, the part of it that we're missing is the actual inclusion. And
Mhm.
USA isn't the only system. You have systems that market themselves as, oh, we're girls, and we want everybody, we want
Mhm.
you, we want you, every walk of life welcome. And then when crowning comes around, it's the same
Same old, same
proto
old.
prototype pageant gal. And it's just kind of like, you had people on stage who were in had walking canes, and like all these different things. And yet,
The
what
same old.
was missing? And is it something performance wise? Is it something they can actually work on? Or is it,
Just take my
just,
money, but don't give me the chance and the opportunity.
yeah,
The
so
difference between the like, and I think they need to also add into that whole diversity inclusion, um, is belonging.
mhm.
Like, you're not really making people feel like they belong if you still do the same old. You just like at the same, like, so once again we're just putting icing on top of
We're putting lipstick on a
yeah,
pig.
just
um
putting pretty lipstick on something, and it's just like we're not really making the changes. I mean, transparency needs to really transparency has definitely taken a hit this past year at different across various pageant
yes.
organizations. Let me say, not just Miss Universe and Miss USA. Like, transparency has, like, I've seen firsthand and secondhand and third hand, like, just the different, like, transparency has taken a hit among the pageant industry. And it's just like it's really it's really disheartening, the way that it's been going lately. I really do hope that things turn around for the better soon, because, like, if you even just look at the numbers right now of the girls that are competing at the Miss USA level, they are not the same.
Record
They're,
lows.
they are record lows. And if that is an indication of the other systems, then it is going to be a rough go at it this year for all pageants. Because if Miss USA, which is the biggest national pageant that we have right now, well, Miss America is, they're like, well, Miss America's getting back up there,
Yeah.
but as far as the biggest national pageant that we have to take a girl international, it's Miss USA. And if their numbers are record low, oh, I mean, everybody else.
I think, I mean, right now, the way to get to the American people is through the pocket, like through their dollar. And the older you start to allow your contestants to be, the more you're going to have people who have some financial literacy, who's like, okay, like, I'm looking at all of your past winners. I know that you as the director don't have anything to do with who's chosen. However, you are selecting the judges. So if you have judges who have 1980s pageant eyes, then they're going to continue to pick those same people. So not only on stage do we want to see diversity and inclusion, but we
Right.
want to see that from our judges as well. And I think, that's kind of where people are so hung up on, oh, well, all my whole panel is former Miss this or Miss that or da da da. And it's like, yeah, but how do they feel about plus size bodies? How do they feel with people who have unique careers? How do like all of these different
Like,
things?
how do
And
they feel about moms competing? Especially that, since they are a mom, then they know how hard it is sometimes to balance a family and balance business and balance whatever. Are they not going to pick a mom because they think that, oh, you're not going to be able to handle this job, or
yeah,
that those biases going to come into play? Like, it's, how do they feel about plus size women? Oh, we don't think that she'll be able to win USA, so that's not even even though she was good and she was probably better than everybody else that competed today, let's not move her forward because we want to make sure that whoever we send to Miss USA or Miss Universe can win it. Like, it's just like these like, I feel like you need to have uh you need to have, you know someone from these excluded but now recently included groups. And you also need to honestly have people that are experts in whatever division that you're having being judged. Like, for instance, have someone that is a great interviewer, and have someone that like works in fashion shows and knows like how to see how to pull a girl with great stage presence. Like, have someone that like have experts, because they will, like, that's how you end up getting a well-rounded person. And one of my good friends had told me that. She was just like, if you have experts in these areas, then the person will end up, the person that wins will end up being the average score of, like, out of all these areas that these experts have judged. You'll get a good, well-rounded person. So with that, I would add, have some previously excluded but now included groups, have some of them on that panel too, because they'll make sure that people get of whatever stage of life or that they're in, that they get a fair shot, like, as well. Like, not just they will make sure that, I hope that they wouldn't choose to, they wouldn't be biased themselves, so you got to kind of balance it out.
Right.
But I feel like the world would have a better judging system if you actually have people that are not just like looking at the standard, oh, well, we should do the standard prototype for a beauty queen. And we'll still take your money though, but
yeah, like, please still
we'll still
send your money in on time.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's just, it's little things too. So it's like, you felt it by having to justify your career. But like, even for me, it's like being a plus size contestant, which, like, in the world of plus size, I guess I'm mid size now, so I have a new thing to yeah. I'll be mid size. Like, I'm trying to be up there with the fluffy folks, but it's fine. Y'all want to make me mid size, it's okay. But so it's like,
are they trying to say that now? Are they saying the plus size and the mid size? Like, where like, I'm so confused now. When do they go from plus size to mid size, or mid size to plus size? Like, what?
I just got the memo a few days ago. Okay,
so you're still learning about the category.
I'm still learning.
Okay.
I'll get back to you on that.
You
but
find out, you let me know, because I mean,
I was like, okay, thank you for educating me. But it's like, even if I want to wear my nails long, like, I love a long nail. I love it. It works for me, and it doesn't stop me from doing my job. Like, before I decided to go into entrepreneurship, I was a nationally ranked apartment manager, and I managed multiple buildings throughout the city. Like, I can write my emails, I can do my own makeup, I can take care of my hygiene.
Yes.
Okay, like,
yes.
my nails are just an extension of me, how I choose to express myself in that moment.
Yeah.
And again, if we're telling people biblically, come as you are. Like, we want to get to know you. It's just kind of like, I feel like I would be excited for somebody secure enough in themselves to know, like, how they want to present. But it's like, now when I'm prepping for a pageant, I'm like, oh, I gotta make a nail appointment so I can cut my nails and do something neutral, so that, you know what I mean, it's not a distraction in my interview. And it's so silly.
It reminds me of that runner, the one of the fastest women in the world.
Oh, Flojo.
They tried to give her crap about her nails being long, and she went and she curled them.
They curled them.
She was like, "Oh, y'all got a problem? Oh, okay. Well, let me just extend them out a little bit more.
Okay.
Let me just extend them out a little bit more, and I'll still beat everybody on this track."
I'm like, don't worry, it matches my evening gown. Like, we're good.
Right?
We're good.
Exactly.
But it's like that, and this still isn't truly a safe space for women of color, even. Like,
right.
One thing that irks my nerves, and I understand the dynamic between a organization and their sponsors. I really get it. But as a Black woman, I'm not going to use the tanning products. You know what I mean? Like, teeth whitening, great. Hair salon, I have to vet the hair salon. Do they know what to do with Black hair?
Because we are very sensitive about who touches our hair, because it takes time to grow it. Like,
And
so it's just like, you know, you go in for a trim, you come out with hair like trim, like your hair's like this. You come out, your hair is like up to here. They're just like, oh, because there were so many dead ends.
I'd be
Like,
like,
no,
ma'am,
you just didn't know how to cut my hair.
yeah, just say that. Just
Just
say
say
that.
that. Just say that.
Like,
Matter of fact, you should have said that before I even sat in the chair. But we don't want to talk about that now.
but it's like you get makeup like 1,000 shades too light. You can't use it, and you're supposed to be the spokesperson for this brand, and you have to say, "Oh my God, I love my big bouncy hair with my hairspray. I use spritz, but I
And
love
your
this
hair is in
hairspray,
braids.
and my hair is in braids." You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, this is so my shade. I love this lipstick. It's Barbie pink, but yeah, like, you know what I mean?
And
Like,
you gotta mix it and blend it with other lipsticks just so it can look good on your skin tone.
and it's
Yes,
just like I am thankful for the sponsors.
yes.
I really am. But how difficult would it be to just send a mix of colors?
Uh-huh.
Like, it's already product that you've written off anyway. And
Yeah.
then when the girl wins, there's beautiful women backstage like myself in a
Mm-hmm.
headset that's like, oh my God, she's chocolate. Put on
No, no,
like,
she's chocolate. Put
like,
on this one.
like
No, I
organize the
definitely
bag.
agree that you know that needs to be at the forefront of the sponsors' heads when they're considering sponsoring a pageant. Like, okay, do you have shades that can match just about everybody, or at least be
Mhm.
blended to be able to match most of everybody? Because I mean, heck, it wasn't until recent that Chinese Laundry started making toffee
Yeah.
tippy tops. Like when I was competing, the nude was not my nude. The nude was like way lighter than my skin tone, and so it did not look like a seamless long leg for me. It looked like my leg and then
And
nude.
then the shoot.
Tippy top. Like, thankfully, recently I've been able to get some tip. Like, what, and it's so funny because my protege actually would put me on to the fact that they started making your color now. I'm like, oh, okay. So she got me to get the actual black girl nude that so that it
That you
actually blends
deserve.
into my skin. But that was just something. I mean, but for the longest time, nude was not my nude. And in the military, because I'm also in the military, I'm a reservist for the Air Force.
Oh, good for
And
you.
thank you. And so I don't usually even tell people that per se. I just always tell them the first part of the performer. And it's so funny how the switch in their brain happens when they go from just thinking that they're just talking to like just a performer, to then when I do mention military, they're just like, oh, you serve?
Oh, well, thank
Oh,
you
so
for your service.
you actually have like a job that is mainstream society, like acceptable to me. Oh, thank you for your service.
Thank
I'm
you
like,
for your service.
thank you. Yeah, I'm just like,
Yeah. Okay.
thank you for your support. I'm like, but anyways, it's so funny though that, but I don't even do that on purpose. I just normally don't even mention it because of the fact that I completely just don't think about to mention it. But the only reason I'm mentioning it now is because there was a story about like these nudes that basically when I think it was something as small as like it was like a band-aid.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wanted like there was something going on with one of the troops, and they needed a band-aid or whatever for something, and they said you have to put on you need nude band-aids if you're gonna like put that on over that, and the commander gave the sergeant nude band-aids, and they said, sorry sir, but this is not nude. And he's like, what
Yeah.
do you mean? He's like, this is not my nude. This is like I like it, and he's like, this is, and yeah, and then that's when the commander was just like, you're right. Like this is, then they saw, and it was something so small like that they started to see that what the world had thought were nude for everybody is actually not nude for everybody. It's nude for a certain skin tone, but it's not nude for everybody. And so therefore it was in its own way offensive for that person, because of the fact that they're just like, this is gonna stick out like a sore thumb on me. I don't understand like what. And so it was just an example like that that I remember when I think about the Chinese laundry shoe, because I'm just like, yeah, that was not our nude. And yet, like, I mean, we just had to wear it because that was what the world thought was nude for everybody. So it's nice if sponsors start to really think about these things when they are sponsoring a pageant, that they actually start to consider the different shades that could possibly win.
Yeah.
um, as well as, because I know some contestants, so as a contestant, you also get sponsored products to promote. I understand they don't want to give everybody their whole dang online, but there's like, it's just things to consider when deciding to sponsor a pageant.
Yeah, I think so. I Similar to the Band-Aid story, Misty Copeland just did her story about how she used to have to cake her shoes to
Mm-hmm.
match her skin tone.
Mm.
And I have a friend who's been a ballerina since we met, and it's just kind of like the same thing. First of all, ballet industry, why? Okay, because you guys have these point shoes that people
Oh,
have to break and destroy before they can even touch the stage.
yeah,
Let's talk.
yeah.
That's a
Let me
problem.
tell you something. I commend those ballerinas, okay? Their feet take a beating,
They,
okay?
oh my gosh,
Their
but like
feet take a beating for us to see such a beautiful art form.
they have to really like. I saw my friend pull out a brand new pair of point shoes, and I'm in awe. I'm like, oh my god, they're so pretty. And this girl got to breaking the shank and cracking the toe part, and I'm like, like, what are you doing to it? She's like, oh
You're
no, this is
destroying your
normal.
shoe.
Like, I was like, this is normal. I was like, how much are these shoes? And she told me, and I said, the devil's a liar. The devil is a liar. Ain't no way. I'm about to pay all these money for shoes I have to destroy. Back on track. Misty was just expressing how throughout her career, she's had to, put makeup on the shoe in order to make it her skin tone. And Misty's not a dark girly, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, I would like on my pageant wish list, I would like it if we signed up for a pageant and amongst the paperwork, we were asked, where is your shade range? Is it is it fair, medium, deep, dark? Check a box.
Mm,
You know
okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And just like that one question, at least for me filling out the paperwork would make me feel like at least you care. Okay?
Yeah.
Because
No,
when
I
I
like
show
that.
up, my name is already on the bag. So I'm going to assume that you took that page and you were like, okay, amber is usually deep to dark. We have some deep to dark. In the bag it goes.
Yeah,
Like,
I like that.
I think, and that way you're not asking the sponsor, hey, just send me 50 of everything you got.
Right,
You can
right.
you can now say, oh, I need 5 deep, 5 dark, 3 fair,
See,
2 porcelain, you know?
I
And
think that's fair.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
But again, I'm not bashing sponsors. I'm just saying we can all do a little better.
right. Exactly. No, ultimately across the board, I think that would be a part of the true inclusion, the
Yeah.
true belonging, the caring about the diversity. That's the thing. You have diversity, but do you actually care about the diversity?
Yeah. And it's just kind of like we need just putting us up there because I felt watching Miss Universe this year, I was like, oh, okay, each of the women that typically isn't included made it. And I was like,
The top 20, right?
yeah. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to take away from anything that those women did because I know they worked hard to get there. But it's just kind of like everybody made it,
Yeah.
but then didn't advance. So it's just kind of like,
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel the same way you did, and like it's just like, did they really make it off of their, like, not taking away from their journey, but did you really choose them off of their scores, or did you choose them because you're trying to check off a box? If you chose them off of if they all made it to top 20 off of their scores alone, then kudos to every freaking body. Them, I mean, of course, to them as well, but kudos to the judging panel, kudos to the organization. Y'all literally, like, for one, not that they don't judge things fairly, but I'm just saying, like, y'all didn't just put them in there
right,
just to make sure that the world saw that there was diversity in there. Y'all actually let them earn it. You know, but it's just like, you know, if they just got in there because y'all were trying to show the world that, see, we included there, you know, we got some people.
They made it to the top 20. Didn't you see? Didn't you see it?
Yeah,
They were
they
there.
made it. Like, we got everybody. Like, I'm just gonna say that a lot of people noticed that that there was a previously excluded but now included person from whatever groups that made it. All of them made it in the top 20. I know that a lot of people noticed that. A lot of people made comments about that, and I'm just like, you know, while we don't want to take away from the merit of the girl and you know, her journey, it's just like, we, you know, obviously everybody just wants to make sure that you put her in there because she earned it. Like,
Well,
I think even she would feel like she would want to know that she was in there because she earned it, not just because you were doing a hand me out. You know, like,
well,
I would, if I wouldn't want to be in there if you're just doing a hand me out. Like, I'm like, and I'm a part of the previously excluded groups. Don't put me in top 20 if I didn't earn it.
I think one thing to note is, like, you know, as consumers, okay, we're not dumb, stupid, or slow, right?
Right.
So it's like we see the pattern to the point where there are experts who watch these shows and can predict, you know, all the way down to the top 5
Right.
from, you know, the formula that is pageantry, you know, stage presence, walk, face, you know,
Right.
actual speaking ability. Like,
Gotcha.
all of those things considered, you have people who can watch from the outside and say, okay, that's going to be that.
Right.
You boil that group down to people of color who've been watching pageantry for the past 20 years, and they'll tell you, okay, we have 6 Black girls going to this national pageant. There are going to be 2 to 3 that make it in the top, like, before even seeing these women perform, right?
Yeah.
So you go and you boil down things like that, and now you have, okay, we have 8 women who are previously excluded, now included.
Mm-hmm.
Three
Yeah.
or 4 will make it to top 20. Maybe 2 will make it to the 5. You know, like, we're just going to throw those numbers around. But then you get to the big show, and I love to see it. Like, let's not be confused about that. I
Yeah.
was happy to see it. My heart was full to see it. However, that thought did come into the back of my mind. It's like, all 8 women made
Right.
it.
All 8.
All 8? Like,
We would have been fine if y'all, if it, like again, if everybody earned it, kudos to everybody. But if it was just a hand me out, it would have been more realistic if you would have said 5 out of that 8 made it, and
yeah.
then maybe 1 out of that 5 made it to top 5 or top 10 or whatever. I'm like, you know, like make it more realistic for us. If you're gonna do a hand me out, then just make it a little bit more believable. Don't let everybody get in there, because then that's when we start to be like,
But then, and then, in addition to that, as fans, spectators,
yeah,
participants in whatever fashion,
yeah,
then a few short months later, you have this audio leak, which isn't the first thing from inside the camp
exactly,
to allude
exactly,
to, you know, certain things. And, you know, my time with the Miss Universe organization, I mean, it's been a part of my career through the whole time, through my entire stint in pageantry. I competed for Miss Washington USA 4 times, and
okay,
then went on to be a volunteer, and now I'm a choreographer for several of the USA state pageants. So,
nice.
you know,
She's like, I do what I can. I do what I can.
I do what I can. I work
I do
hard.
what I can. I do what I can.
I work hard, but God works harder.
Uh-huh.
So it's just kind of like, I definitely have love for, you know, what I see at the state level, but it's like I always have to come back year after year and be like, well, yeah, you should still compete at the state, but, you know, nationals is different. You know,
Yeah,
like, and
yeah.
it's just kind of like, y'all, one year, can y'all please make my job easy? That would be great. Like, I just want to be able to send these women's on with the best and utmost confidence that, you know, I'm pushing them forward where they need to be. And it's like, with situations like this, it's just like, there's nothing to explain. It was said. Like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
no taking it back. And now, with everything happening at the national level for our girls, for the USA girls,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like, so they're not even, it almost feels like they're not even really the face of the brand anymore. Like after the
Yes,
most
it's
recent
really
announcement.
crazy. It's really crazy. Like, part of the, like someone had mentioned, like, and I agree with them that part of the whole being Miss USA was that you get to, you take charge of the social media. You get to, like, because Arbany was able to post whatever the heck she wanted on both Universe and USA.
And she was clapping back. I was like, I mean, and good for her.
She was,
Like,
listen, I always think, like, now it's just like when I think of Arbany, I think of her as that resilient queen that, like, that one that had to fight for it. Like, and I respect her fight and I respect her resiliency. And then, like, so that's Queen Arbany for me. Queen Shanice is like that, like, she's just a very humble, like, just like, freaking giving off Princess Diana, Queen of the People vibes kind of thing. And I'm just like, two different queens, for sure, two different queens. But Arbany was a queen that if you need an example of how to be resilient and how to be, like, a fighter, but without necessarily, like, getting low down and dirty per se, the way that some people would fight. But she was just like, she made sure to clap back in a very classy way. I'm like, that's the one that you let her be the example.
like, I remember Arbany, like when she got crowned at Universe, I remember I was in like a discourse group and they were talking about it. And of course, she had all of that hoopla going along with her reign. But then they were like, you can see her hairnet, like on her crowning moment, you can see her hairnet. And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you really going to say you think this girl shouldn't have won because you watching your 4K HD TV from the comfort of your home can
zoomed
see?
in. I'm pretty certain the judges could not see the hairnet. I could not tell that it was a hairnet. I'm pretty certain. Like,
I'm
good.
sure you sent
They
your
didn't give
child on
they
stage.
didn't give that girl a break, did they?
Man, they kept like whooping on her. But I've thought up a new question, and then I'm going to let you get in a little bit more time on your platform because we've just been yapping this whole little hour away. So, so my question as a coach and being somebody who has seen all kinds of shenanigans over the past 2 years, how would you have advised your client in the situation with the Connecticut contestant and how she posted her raw feelings, which she has a right to do, but she's getting a lot of backlash for it? Like, how would you have advised your client had they come to you first and been like, I'm going to say what I have to say?
Well, for one, I would say that, you are entitled to feel all the feelings.
Right.
All the feelings. But take a breather. Take at least 2 days. If you're still feeling some type of way, in which you probably might be feeling a little bit of some type of way, but you would have calmed down a lot by that point. Then, like, let's do a debrief session so that we can go ahead and talk this through and figure out the next steps. Don't get on there and post something that you will later regret or get negative backlash for, because once it's posted, it's out there, it's on the internet. Like, you'd be better off not taking it down, because if you post it and then after you get the backlash you take it down, it's kind of like, well, then, like, because a lot of people think if you feel that way, then stand on your feelings. Like, yeah. Right? Like, don't be posting stuff and then taking it down just because there's a lot of people that don't agree with you. If you feel that way, stand on your feelings. But before we put them feelings out there, let's go ahead and reevaluate what those feelings are. Let's try to see, maybe, yes, we might have made top 5 last 4 years, but then this 5th year, we only make it to top 12. Well, every year, new contestants come in. Every year, these previous contestants are elevating up their resume. They're elevating up their performance. They're elevating up all their skill sets. What have you done to elevate yourself? Let's think about that for a second. Like, let's think about, what did you do this past year to make it to make it to where you have now grown so much more than where you were at last year? Because if all you did was a smothered TV show, how is that how is that elevating anything? Like that's not even like that's great. You're on a TV show, great, but it's not like this TV show is showing you in the best of light here.
Yeah,
Let's
and
think about that.
I had
And
never
then,
heard of it.
yeah, I never even heard of it until I started seeing, videos of her going around. I'm just like, okay, well, if you know, and then on top of that, you say that the competition, there wasn't even that much competition. Well, do you even know what these girls' resumes are? Let me see yours, actually. And if she is my client, I would have already known her resume. And I'm like, well, in actuality, the person that won, has a lot of accomplishments underneath her resume throughout this past year. However, for you, if you did not really do much from last year to now, I mean, how, like, you think that they need to go, like, listen, in showbiz, we have you're only as hot as your last show. And if your last show was last year, then it's just like, what are you doing now? Like, it doesn't matter, because you've had a year and people have elevated themselves and grown and did accomplishments. And here you are thinking that you're about to get top 5 based off of the accomplishments that you did a year ago. Baby girl, don't work like that. And in actuality, if she was my client, then that would have been something that we would have been addressing, like, from day one after the pageant. It wouldn't have been, I let her go a whole year without doing anything to elevate herself. Like, at that, like, no, I would have cut that loss a long time ago if she wasn't trying to do anything to elevate herself. Like, I would have been like, no, then this ain't gonna work, because it's about being better than you were before. And if you're not trying to do anything other than this smothered TV show and think that just because you have so many thousands and thousands of Instagram followers that should be enough, like, it's not. And and she learned that lesson, that they don't care about your Instagram followers. If you don't have the substance, that it's not being a Miss USA title holder isn't about being a model. It's about being a role model.
Mm-hmm.
A spokesmodel.
Spokesmodel.
Spokesmodel. I had to teach one of my girls that yesterday, because she was like, not so much how to teach her, but I had to remind her, because of the fact that, when she first got into this, she got in because she thought that this was a great route to being a model. I'm like, while if you get to the Miss USA and Miss Universe level, if you win, I like to say win, you don't, yeah, you will have modeling opportunities, but it's not about being a model. It's about being a role model. It's about being a spokesmodel. Like, you got to be able to speak to people.
Speaketh the word. Speak. Yeah,
like, if you don't speak to people.
I feel like the thing that was, I feel like, I love me a good pageant blog, but reposting that girl's video and posting Delulu under it was a choice. First and foremost, that was a choice. But I feel like everyone has left a competitive setting and felt, jolted by not getting what they wanted out of the opportunity.
Right.
The thing that concerns me with people under 30 is just kind of like this false currency that is followers. Like, you can't invest everything involving your reputation on the fact that you have a lot of followers, because you are getting dragged left, right, front, back, and sideways. And what are those followers doing for you? Because I didn't see too many of them fighting for you in the comments.
Okay.
And I'm just,
okay.
I'm being real.
And not a lot of them will show up. If you say you're going to be somewhere, not a lot of them will show up. I think that TikTok girl proved that. She had like 1 million something followers on TikTok. She had an event and nobody showed up.
And that's the thing. It's just kind of like, it takes no effort at all to press the follow button. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's no real investment there. And I think that's another thing that we need to educate ourselves on, is just kind of like the power that comes with our sponsorship, our follows, our likes, that
Mhm.
somewhere down the way is equating to dollars
Mhm.
elsewhere, so it's
Yeah.
really important that the things that we support, we have to take the time. I know it's precious. We don't get a lot of it, but we have to take the time to really
Time is
do our
important. Yeah.
research before we just often support things, because somebody in those comments is her followers. Like, some of those people are her followers, and they're like, "Oh no, girl, this was wrong. I don't agree. Da 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 da. Don't put me in it." like. And so I think we need to do a better job with teaching the youth that yes,
Mhm.
you can get far. My country accent comes out at the worst time. You can get far in this world with followers in certain realms, but times can, will, and always do change. So
Right.
you have to have more substance. Like you
Mhm.
said, you have to have more to offer than
Exactly.
a follower count. Like,
Yes, exactly. Exactly. No, you make such a good point. Yeah, they do. A lot of people these days do tend to think that like the follower count is currency, and I'm just like, here's where I would say you can treat it as such. If if half or more of your followers, like 50% plus, will show up at your events, if they spend money for whatever product you put out, like if you give something to your followers and they grab it, that's when you can finally say my currency is my followers, because my followers will spend money to see me. That's, you ever heard of that 1000 true fans? Yeah, they say all you need if you want to be a six-figure earner is to have 1,000 true fans spend at least $100 on you every year.
makes sense. Okay.
And the key word is true.
True.
Like, because those are the, like, you can have 1,000,000 fans, but they won't be like, they'll try to see what they can get for free. But you got those 1,000 people that are your ride or die, that the minute they see that you're going to be at somewhere, they're coming. They already got their ticket. The
Well,
minute you put out a T-shirt, hey guys, I'm trying to raise money for my pageant, girl, you're ready to earn everything you needed for that pageant within the first hour, because they got you. Like, not
I
everybody
think,
actually has true fans.
well, I think,
They got observers. They got observers.
right. They have stalkers is what it is. But you can do something like this. Like, oh my gosh, guys, I just dropped a lip gloss line. I need you guys to buy it. But you're paid for followers. You know what I mean? Because you can buy those if you didn't know. But your paid for followers are not going to take the time to go to your profile, click the link, and then put this in their cart. But you have mega superstar Rihanna, who says, "Hey, I'm coming out with a shade inclusive brand. I need you guys to go buy it." I almost broke my neck the first time I bought a gloss bomb, and I was working
She's like,
at
I can't
Ulta.
find the computer fast enough. I just did
Right?
it on the
Couldn't
phone.
my child, let me tell you, couldn't, and was upset because I worked at Ulta at the time and they were only holding Fenty in dang Sephora. I was like, "God dang, I can't even be seen going to get this product that I need." But
Right. Like, you
but
feel like you need it. If you don't
like, I
have it, you're
need
missing.
it. I have to support Rihanna.
Right, right, exactly. And it's just like,
Rihanna
and she don't
Rihanna
even
doesn't
know
know
who
me.
we are.
Like, she don't know me. She don't
She
know
don't even
me.
know who we are.
But I
But
think
it's
I
just
think
like, but what she represents is
exactly.
someone that
Exactly.
is trying to make sure that everybody is and truly, truly included. And I think that's why a lot of people buy into her products, is because they're just like, I think when she came out with her makeup line, people were saying she made a shade for every. We didn't even know there were shades of people, like with the colors that we didn't know that there were that many
Yeah.
shades in the world. They're like, she made a shade for everybody. And from then on, she has been kind, and then of course her fashion show, she includes all shapes and sizes of beauties, and all, like, genders, and
Yeah.
whatever you identify
Everybody.
as. And she makes sure that inclusion and diversity are hand in hand in everything she
Yeah.
does. And it's because of what she stands for with that, and where she stands with that, that you will have people that are just like, when she said she dropped the line with various shades of what they will break their neck, because they know that for one, she is like, her product is like what it says it is. They know they'll find something that can suit them. They know that it's a quality product, and they know that, she actually cares about, like, making sure that we feel like we belong.
Yeah, I feel like,
It's
and
a brand. She
that's
built a brand that
that's the
cares.
missing piece, because this young lady, bless her heart, this young lady, oh, I was on TV, I have the followers, yeah, 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 but it's like the most the most viewed thing to come out of that show is you taking a celery bath with your mother. Like that, who is going to follow and support that?
Like a lot of people will think, like, will turn the eyebrow up to it, like, what?
Like
Like,
what?
what?
I mean, when I was scrolling on TikTok and came across it, because I've never seen
Like,
the show,
what the
so
world?
it was only after there was discourse about her videos that I even knew I didn't know what Smothered was. I'd never heard of it. And somebody like did like a breakdown and they were like, "Oh yeah, this." And I was like, "Ew.
And it makes
Okay."
you wonder, like, with things like that, you really do wonder, like, is it an act, or are they really like this?
And I considered that as well. I was like, well, I mean, this is great marketing. Like she's getting a lot of attention, but I started to see I saw valid questions, valid concern, and then it started to turn into bullying, and that's when I was kind of like, okay, guys, like we've had our fun. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I think ultimately, like, if this was a marketing PR stunt kind of tactic to get more eyes on Smothered, then she did her job. She helped the TV station
yeah, she
get
needs a
more
bonus.
views on. They need to give that girl a raise, because she just put her whole neck on the line to make
Mhm.
sure that everybody goes and watch Smothered.
Well,
She
and
just
then
put,
it's like she's going to have to take what a I mean, the pageant world is so fleeting with scandal. So I'm like, she's going to have to take what, a year off before she competes anywhere else, because I mean, she could go to a different pageant system, but they'll be like, "Oh my god, they're Smothered."
yeah, exactly. She might, honestly, she might be done for a long time, if not ever, because that is going to follow her for a while. And it's like she's gonna, I don't want to say she might be done forever, but she's gonna probably have to, like, if she plans to actually go back into a pageant and win it, have a chance to win it, she has to show that she has grown
Yeah, she needs a redemption
significantly.
arc.
She needs an arc. She needs an
Yeah.
arc. I mean, so at this point, it's all up from here. She can start working on her character arc, and then maybe in a couple years, when it comes back around and she decides to do the pageant again, any pageant, and she's able to win it, then it will be a success story that could inspire other people, because she will be able to testify. It doesn't matter if you're on a TV show. It doesn't matter if you have this many followers. It like, you can have all this and be delulu because of the fact that you think that that's what you need to have in order to win. And I am testament to show you guys that I have done it, and it is not the way. And now I was able to grow from what people were calling me or whatnot, because I also was, maybe I was in my own, like, state of mind of thinking that that's all I needed. And I have grown from it, and I've actually matured, and I've gotten actual real accomplishments under my belt to be, and know what it really takes to be a beauty queen, to have been able to earn it now. Like, it's just like one of those things. I mean, I think her character arc would then be inspirational to other people when she's able to make it. Because, like, right now, a lot of people are saying that she's delusional if she thinks that that's what it takes. But I don't really think that continuing to, like, I think at this point, like you said, we've had our fun. I mean, if they call that fun, like, with, just, you know bashing her and stuff like that. But at the same time, she was also bashing other people in the pageant. So it's just like, okay, we've done thrown spitballs at both sides at this point. So stop
Yeah.
the spitball throwing.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think that the actual winner, she addressed it very, very regally, and I was happy that
I
she,
didn't see it. Did she? I didn't see it.
yeah, she made a response video, and she, she did call for people to stop bullying this girl, which I thought was very big of her. But it was the ultimate show of class, and so you go into that comment section, and all you can see is, and you're showing us why you won, and this is why you won, and this is why you won. And I thought it was very big and courageous of her to not only stand up and say something, but to defend her attacker, so to speak, and to try to move the conversation elsewhere. And she even tied it back into her platform, which is surrounding mental health. So it
Smart.
was it was excellent craftsmanship on her part. um and because she, of course, being the person who won, is getting some of the fallout traffic to her pages because of this discourse, because of this conversation. So I mean, I thought it was a very, very grade A winner's answer, and but it also felt
Winner
authentic.
behavior too.
Yeah,
Winner
it
behavior for
very,
sure.
very authentic. So I do want to give you the chance, because girl, we're gonna be talking for 2 hours. I do want to give you the chance to tell us how we can support you, and your boss movement. I also would like for you to tell us, like, are you building this platform because you're competing again, or are you just doing this because it's something that needs to be done?
It's something that needs to be done. In actuality, I mean, I don't know when I would be competing again, to be honest. Um, it was just, it was mentioned during a conversation about competing. However, ultimately, I don't know when I would be. To be quite honest, like I have other goals that I have in mind right now for my girls that I'm coaching, as well as for my performance career. That I At this time it doesn't make sense for me to compete. But when talking about competitions, because when I was with Carlos, I was there because one of my girls was having a headshot, and we were just talking about the competitions, and it came up when I was just a hypothetical situation. I'm like, yeah, if I were to compete, I mean, I don't think I would be able to, da da da. And
Yes.
then that's when he said, well, you shouldn't make that. I was that just it just got me to thinking, like, why wait to talk about that when I am when like if I ever decided to compete, why would I like if this conversation needs to be had, it needs to be had now. It doesn't need to wait until I'm in competition mode,
Gotcha.
because it's already been long enough. When I was in competition mode, I never had the conversation. I just shied away from it because I always thought that, I didn't think that people would be accepting. And I'm just like, and at the end of the day, it's just like, I shouldn't have to be in competition mode to have this platform to actually bring this to the forefront for the world to start talking about. Because, believe it or not, I've come across a lot more other performers in the pageant world that are in competition mode, that are kind of like not really being open about their performer life. And I'm just like, you should definitely be open about it. Like, why are we hiding because it's not a mainstream society kind of job? So, while it was brought about when we were just talking, shooting the breeze about possible competing if I ever were to be in a competition, and so this all came up from that conversation, I decided to start it because I just feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had. It's something that just needs to go ahead and, like, if we're gonna really talk about inclusion, and if we're gonna then we need to, really be about inclusion. We need to really let's talk about all areas of it.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, just the biggest one of the biggest ones that I've experienced has been about career choices. And like, yeah, also being a Black girl in pageantry, of course, I experienced some things, not so much firsthandly, but I've seen it about, like, not necessarily or at least having to feel like you have to change your hairstyle, in which actually I was one that changed my hairstyle because I was told that my hairstyle was too ghetto at when I was competing at a local level. But so I guess you can say, yeah, I am a part of the group of Black girls that did also feel like they had to change something on their appearance to compete. But I was a part of the small group that felt like they had to hide their real careers because they didn't think that they would be accepted. So I just figured that why not go ahead and just bring this conversation to the forefront, um, to start being talked about, because whether I ever decide to compete again or if I just decide to continue being pageant staff and coaching, like I want everybody else that is in a career of their passion to be able to not have to hide it, and to be able to express it, to talk about it, and to not be bad marked or bad mouthed because of it. So that's why it's just important for me to actually have the conversation.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, you
I
know,
hope that makes sense.
having open forum conversation like this, where you're able to just kind of really express yourself. And I pride myself on trying my best to create a safe space where everybody feels comfortable giving their thoughts and opinions on what's happening, because we can't see these things change if we don't talk about it.
Exactly.
So I commend you for starting this journey and doing everything you can to grow this platform. I know it's going to be huge because everybody feels discounted or put into a box in some way or another, especially when you go into this kind of objective subjective sporting event that we all know and love, and it goes by the name of pageantry. So
Yes.
where can everyone follow and support you?
Oh, okay. Okay. So, if you would like to follow my journey through just my pageant career, then I would just definitely say to follow Miss Keyace. So MissKeyace, like you see on the screen. Um, the the platform for Boss is you are a boss queen. That's at you are a boss queen for Instagram.
Okay, I
And
have to
so
follow that.
yeah. you, so you are a boss queen, and yeah, like just you'll see a bit of everything on my post, a lot of everything on my Miss Keyace page. So it's just like you'll be able to see some I'm starting to post more entertainment things on there too, just to like get people to see the other side of me. Like I'm not just all pageant staff, pageant coaching. I'm all, I'm all pageant
I have
career. I'm
more to
like,
offer.
there's more to offer, but also like there's been more to offer. This is now I'm sharing with you what I have been doing when I'm not on the pageant side, and so it's just like I figured that it's important for my audience, current and new audience, to see that, because it's just like I think it's been hidden long enough, and it should never have been hidden in the first place. So yeah, like I'm excited about this new advocacy that I'm taking on, because I definitely feel very passionate about it. Not to say that my previous advocacies are being set to the side. I just, as I grow in this world, I if I see things that need to be addressed, I'm like one of those people that will be like, oh, we're about to address that too.
See something, say something, folks. Um, well, I mean, this has been absolutely awesome. Thank you for sitting and speaking with me. I'm going to end the recording, but you stick around there, darling. But everybody, thank you again for listening. This has been the BGE Cloud podcast and another episode of the Plus in Pageantry. Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.